Good morning, my dear students. Are you ready for your next bio class? That's good. So, today we'll discuss the main important part of a cell called nucleus. As we are discussing about the fundamental unit of life, that is cell, and we have done with basic shape, numbers of cells, and the outer coverings as plasma membrane and cell wall present in the cell. Now we start with the internal composition of the cell, and first important part of the cell is a nucleus. And what is a nucleus, how it looks like, what are its main function, that we'll discuss in this class. Next, first one is appearance of nucleus under compound microscope. During our practical activities, when we prepare temporary mounts, temporary slides of onion peel cell and human cheek cells. So what we do actually, we take a thin slice of onion peel or inside layer of our cheek, and we stain them by using particular dyes. For example, plant cells are mainly stained by this dark red color solution called safranin, and animal cells are mainly stained by methylene blue. So this is how these cells look under microscope, and as you can see, onion peel cells have a rectangular structure, whereas human cheek cells are polygonal or somewhere irregular in shapes. But the main thing that you can see is few areas are darkly stained, means जो ज़्यादा stain absorb करते हैं वो areas, एक तो outer plasma membrane, and in plants onion peel cell you can also see the cell wall, and one central spherical structure you can see in human cheek cell, and again a spherical structure at the side of onion peel cell. So these rounded spherical structures which are seen as a dark colored structure under compound microscope is called nucleus. So nucleus appears dark because it absorbs darker stain. कुछ पार्ट सेल के डार्क स्टेन एब्जॉर्ब करते हैं और कुछ कम करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल साइटोप्लाज्म एब्जॉर्ब्स वेरी लिटल स्टेन, तो यू कैन सी दैट इट्स अपियरिंग इन अ वेरी लाइटर कलर, वेयर एज द न्यूक्लियस एंड द सेल वॉल appears quite dark. So these spherical or oval shaped structures are called nucleus, and in animal cell you can see it is present in the center of the cell, whereas in plant cell it is somewhere near the peripheral region. Next is location of nucleus in animal and plant cell. As we have seen in that human cheek cell and plant cell, so that is in all animal cells, nucleus is always present at the center, as you can see here in this diagram. And in plant cells, because of the presence of large vacuoles, nucleus is always pushed towards site. So this is the location of the nucleus in plants and animal cells. Next is structure of nucleus. What are the main components of nucleus? Let's see that. First is the outermost covering of nucleus, which surrounds that entire contents of nucleus, is called nuclear envelope or nuclear membrane can be. Secondly, nucleoplasm. Nucleoplasm is a jelly-like fluid present in the nucleus, enclosed by the nuclear envelope. And next, chromatin material. As you can see in the diagram, some thread-like structures are visible. So those thread-like structures are chromatin material. And next, last is the nucleolus. In the center of the nucleus, one dark spherical structure you can see, that is called nucleolus. So now we'll discuss briefly what are these particular components of nucleus. So first one is nuclear envelope, and this is the outermost covering of nuclear material present in the cell. This is a double layered membrane. Just like plasma membrane, this is also made up of two layers, as you can see in the diagram, and it is similar in structure to the plasma membrane. it encloses nucleus and separates it from cytoplasm. As it encloses the entire nuclear material, तो in this way ये separate करता है cytoplasm से एक nucleus को, उसके सारे content को cytoplasm से contact में नहीं आने देता. तो this has nuclear pores. Actually, plasma membrane is semi-permeable as we have discussed, but nuclear membrane is impermeable. So there are thousands of pores in the surface of nuclear membrane which allow transfer of material, mainly proteins, in and out of the nucleus. Next is chromatin material. This is very important part of nucleus, and otherwise it is present as a network-like structure made up of some thread-like structures in the form of enlarged mass, and it is made up of DNA. DNA is a molecule which is called as deoxyribonucleic acid, and proteins. So it contains mainly two things, DNA and proteins. But when the cell is about to divide, जब cell में division होना start होता है, at that time this network like chromatin material gets arranged in the form of thread-like structures, as you can see in the figure, and these structures are called as chromosomes. And every plant or animal has a fixed number of chromosomes, and these chromosomes are actually responsible for the characteristic of an individual. And these chromosomes contain genetic information in the form of genes. Actually, genes क्या होते हैं? Let us see. Chromosomes are made up of DNA, and DNA के एक specific segment को gene कहते हैं. And these genes are the functional hereditary units of DNA. Means हर एक जीन एक specific characteristic के लिए responsible होता है. जैसे आपकी skin का color क्या है, आपके hair color क्या है, आपकी eyes का color क्या है. All this is dependent on these genes. So genes have genetic information and they are hereditary units. आपकी parents से जो characteristics आपकी body में आते हैं, they are transferred by the help of these genes. Next is Nucleolus and Nucleoplasm, two more components of nucleus. So Nucleolus is almost located in center of the nucleus, and it is a dark colored spherical structures, and it contains basically proteins and RNA. RNA is also a kind of nucleic acid named as ribonucleic acid, and it's responsible mainly for protein synthesis in the cell. And next is Nucleoplasm. Nucleoplasm is a clear non-staining. Non-staining मतलब जब आप stain करते हो during preparation of slides, तो stain absorb नहीं करता nuclear material. So it is a clear non-staining fluid material, and it contains raw material for synthesizing DNA and RNA. तो DNA और RNA nucleus में खुद synthesize होता है because nucleus contain its own genetic material. Next is functions of nucleus. Nucleus is actually the control center of the cell because it controls all the metabolic activities. जितने भी function cell के अलग-अलग parts में perform होते हैं, they all are controlled by the nucleus. Hence, it is also called the boss of the cell, control center or boss of the cell. And it synthesizes proteins for cell growth. So various materials are actually synthesized in nucleus for the growth of the cell, and the main function of nucleus is the transmission of characters from parents to offspring. जो आपके parents की body में जो उनके special characteristics हैं वो सब आपकी body में transfer होते हैं. That is only due to the nucleus and the genetic material in the form of genes. And next is the nucleus performs a major role in cell division. When cell divides for our growth, then nucleus has a major role in that. As we have discussed the various parts of the nucleus, and the nucleus having all these parts means a well-developed nucleus if present in a cell, then that cell is called a eukaryotic cell. and the particular organisms are called eukaryotes. But do you know that there are certain organisms which do not have this kind of nucleus? Means उनकी body में इस तरह का developed nucleus नहीं होता, and these cells are called prokaryotic cells and these organisms are called prokaryotes. So have a look at the video. You can see that at the center just a thread-like structure is lying which is in direct contact with the cytoplasm. So this nuclear region is a poorly developed region containing only DNA. ना इसमें nucleolus है, ना nuclear membrane है, ना nucleoplasm है. So this nucleus is not at all properly developed as in eukaryotic cells. So this kind of nucleus is called nucleoid and the organisms are called prokaryote. Let us discuss what does this word mean. Pro means primitive. Primitive means not properly developed, and karyote means nucleus. Organisms, these kind of organisms have cells without well-defined nucleus and nuclear material is just scattered. DNA जो है scattered है cytoplasm में, कोई उसके ऊपर covering नहीं है. And it is not surrounded by nuclear membrane. And the examples of such kind of organisms are bacteria and blue-green algae. Now let us see the basic differences between a eukaryotic and a prokaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cells have well-defined nucleus covered with a membrane that is called nuclear membrane, and in the prokaryotic cell you can see DNA is just lying in the cytoplasm, scattered only without any membrane, and other organelles which you can see in eukaryotic cell, membrane enclosed organelles, they are absent in prokaryotic cell. Just ribosomes are present in both of the cells because ribosomes are the organelle which do not have any membrane. तो membrane bound कोई भी organelle prokaryotic cell में नहीं होते. उसके अलावा cell membrane is same in both. Cell wall is present in plant cell, but here in this picture it is animal cell, so no cell wall is shown here, but otherwise cell wall is present in a plant cell as well as in a bacterial cell. So this is the basic difference between the cells are first of nucleus and secondly of organelles. And the nucleus of nuclear region of prokaryotic cell is called nucleoid. So now we'll list out main differences between a prokaryotic and a eukaryotic cell. The first difference is of nuclear region. Poorly defined nuclear region is present in a prokaryotic cell which is called nucleoid, whereas a well-defined nuclear region containing all main parts is present in a eukaryotic cell which is called a nucleus. Secondly, nuclear membrane is absent in prokaryotic cells, whereas nucleus has a distinct nuclear membrane in eukaryotic cell. Third one, DNA in direct contact with cytoplasm in prokaryotic cells, whereas DNA or the chromatin material is enclosed by the nuclear membrane in a eukaryotic cell. There is a single chromosome present in a prokaryotic cell, whereas eukaryotic cells have more than one chromosomes. Next is membrane bound cell organelles. Cell organelles topic हमने next discuss करना है. These are the many important parts of the cell which perform variety of functions. So all these organelles are absent in a prokaryotic cell, whereas they all are present in a eukaryotic cell. Next, prokaryotic cells are mainly smaller in size because, as you know, these organisms are few bacteria and blue-green algae only. So they are quite smaller organisms. So their cells are 1 to 10 micrometer in range, whereas eukaryotic cells are generally larger, ranging from 5 to 100 micron or micrometer, and they may have certain very large cells like an egg. And last difference or the examples are bacteria and blue-green algae in case of prokaryotic cells. Blue-green algae are also called as cyanobacteria. And eukaryotic cells examples are All living organisms, all living cells, except these bacterial cell and blue-green algae, are the eukaryotic cells. So I hope the nucleus and its structure are clear to you. Let's have a quick recap of all the things we have discussed today. Nucleus is a spherical structure present near the center of the cell. Every eukaryotic cell has a well-defined nucleus in the cells. Means only eukaryotic cells have a well-defined nucleus, or the nucleus simply you can say. Nucleus has genetic information in the form of genes. Nucleus is the control center of the cell. It regulates cell division and it helps in transmission of characters in generations. And poorly developed nuclear region of prokaryotic cells is called a nucleoid. Thank you. Have a nice day.